At the age of 19, sporting a bad boy image and an edgy sex appeal, Keifer fell in with a group of Hollywood's hottest young actors.
In the early to mid-80s, Keifer's circle of friends included Billy Zane, Robert Downey Jr., Sarah Jessica Parker, Emilio Estevez, Charlie Sheen, a new thrusting breed of actor coming through.
It was sort of like a new generation of movie stars were coming around. The past was over. It was time for something new.
In the summer of 1985, the group's popularity was formalized when a journalist dubbed them the Brat Pack.
Back in the mid-80s, the era of the Brat Pack, that was the time to be like 22 and fabulously good looking. Not that there's ever a bad time to be 22 and fabulously good looking, but the mid-80s in Hollywood was it.
You have this loose affiliation of actors who tend to work together, tend to know each other, tend to be involved romantically, all sort of coming together in different projects.
Director Rob Reiner was casting for his new film, Stand By Me. He auditioned Keifer for the role of the bad boy, Ace Merrill.
I went in and I did this audition with Rob Reiner. I walked in and I said, I'm going to do it two ways. I'm going to do it the way I think it should be done, and then you tell me what you want, and then I'll show you I can do that too. And he laughed, and we did it. And he is still the only filmmaker that I've ever worked with that actually gave me the job in the room before I left. I didn't get a call later that night or whatever. He said, you've got it. And I think I had to walk about a quarter of a block before I could scream because I didn't want him to know how desperately I needed it.
With his rugged good looks and gruff voice, Keifer turned Ace Merrill into one of the most menacingly charming villains of the 80s.
You have this great cast of very young actors, River Phoenix, and in the role of Ace, an older brother, juvenile delinquent, Keifer Sutherland. And again, he's playing a sort of gang leader. He has to be charismatic, he has to be somebody you want to know, and yet someone where that sense of danger is always under the surface. Sutherland, in the role of Ace, has that larger-than-life quality.
In Stand By Me, he's like a bad guy, and you need a certain odd likability, an accessibility to a bad guy to let you really fall into him, to a great bad guy. And I think that there's something about him that's unique that makes you want to search and continue to look into what it is he's feeling, what it is he's thinking. You know, where is he coming from?
The film premiered in 1986 and was a huge success. Keifer's portrayal of Ace was applauded by both viewers and critics alike. It was Keifer's first real taste of fame, and he was hungry for more. At 19, Keifer Sutherland was in LA, focusing on his acting career and partying with his glamorous Brat Pack friends. Sarah Jessica Parker, Billy Zane, Charlie Sheen, Robert Downey Jr., and Emilio Estevez. He gained industry recognition with his portrayal of the ruthless villain Ace in Stand By Me. Then, in 1987, Joel Schumacher was directing a teen vampire movie. 21-year-old Keifer became the obvious choice to play David, the charming leader of the Lost Boys.
When you look at The Lost Boys, the teen vampire film, he's terrific in that. He gets to play evil, he gets to play big, but at the same time, that's sort of a vampire movie spin on classic teen movies like Rebel Without a Cause. And he gets to tap into the teen angst element as well.
In Lost Boys, you want to be afraid, but you also want to kind of understand this guy and really feel for him a little bit. And that's what Keifer projected as David, I think.
He combines a sort of modern rebel appeal with this more ancient, gothic, vampiric idea. And that clash actually makes for a pretty interesting part in a pretty interesting movie.
David would end up being his most beloved and iconic film role, and The Lost Boys became an instant classic. Keifer liked the edginess of playing the villain.
That's the joy, to be able to create another character from the darkest thoughts and feelings that you might have. Is incredibly exciting.
A large proportion of Keifer's roles were as bad guys, and not just because casting directors saw him capable of being, he was attracted to that side. But Keifer recognised early on that those are more often than not the characters that are the best drawn in any film.
I look at The Lost Boys and Stand By Me as Keifer's real defining moments where he took his career and said, hey, I'm still young, I got a lot to do, I'm totally different from my father, I'm doing my own thing, and he did a pretty good job.
At the age of 21, Keifer's life was about to take a turn. He'd fallen head over heels in love.
Keifer and Camelia Kath met when they were working together on the same film set, and they struck up a friendship right away, but it very quickly became something deeper, something more.
Keifer's family and friends were concerned. Camelia was 12 years older and a widow with a young daughter.
The 12-year age gap between Camelia and Keifer was something that did concern Keifer's parents. They saw Keifer was just 20 at the time. His career was on the cusp of really taking off.
For a brief moment, his marriage provided him with the stability he had yearned for. The couple settled into a large mansion in Santa Monica. Keifer was elated when he learned that Camelia was pregnant. But there were strains on the marriage. Keifer didn't give up his late-night partying, and his career was becoming more demanding. Then, in 1988, he left behind his wife for 6 weeks to prepare for his next big role in the big-budget western Young Guns. He and his friends Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen headed out to New Mexico to learn how to ride horses, rope cattle, and act like cowboys.
And so there was this tight-knit group of guys, and we were shooting in New Mexico in the winter, and so you could only shoot 8 hours because that's how much daylight you had, and then there was all this time to have dinners and go out, and we had a lot of fun.
But no amount of training could prepare him for his next big role.
Emilio and I were shooting a scene in Young Guns, and there I am sitting on a horse and covered in blood, and the producers come up to me and they say, you know, you need to get down off the horse. And I went, no, I can do the scene. I thought they were mad at me about something. And they said, no, we need to come talk to you. I thought, oh my God, they're going to fire me or something. I don't know what's going on. And they said, you're having a child. And they had a plane land on the highway. And this plane got me back to Los Angeles from New Mexico in less than 2 hours. And they had some Formula One driver pick me up in Santa Monica and got me to Cedars-Sinai. And I had forgot that I still had all the blood on my face. So when I walked into the emergency room and said, where's the maternity floor? What's the maternity floor? This lady grabbed me and threw me down on one of the beds and said, where are you cut? Where are you cut? I said, I'm not cut. I couldn't realize why she was doing this. And I went, oh my God, I've got all the makeup on. It's just makeup, it's makeup. And I had dirt in my hair, and they made me scrub up really quickly, and I literally got there in time to cut the cord.
In 1988, Sarah Jude Sutherland was born. She was named after Keifer's good friends, actress Sarah Jessica Parker and musician Jude Cole. Her birth had a sobering effect on Keifer. Being the child of divorced parents, he vowed he'd be there for his own daughter. But with the extraordinary demands of being a movie star, it wasn't always easy.
When Keifer met Camelia, he was only 19 years old, and she was 12 years older than him. That put a lot of strain in their relationship.
After only 2 years of marriage, Keifer and Camelia divorced. She took custody of their daughter, Sarah.
That's a very hard thing to go through. And I would have to say, out of the disappointments in my life, those are 2 paramount disappointments.
Heartbroken, Keifer threw himself into his work. He was desperate for a deeper, more mature role. He found it when in 1989, he was cast as Nelson in Joel Schumacher's gothic thriller, Flatliners.
As a film, it's interesting because it's about a group of scientists who kind of are so determined to learn, to understand, they literally start banging at the gates of hell. It's very much a modern Frankenstein story. And that appealed to audiences.
Flatliners was an interesting film because that was where Keifer was trying to become more of a leading actor, a mainstream actor.
Flatliners had a powerful young cast with Oliver Platt, Kevin Bacon, and rising young starlet Julia Roberts. In the film, Keifer and Julia's characters were romantically involved. When word got out that the real-life actors were dating, the result was a tabloid frenzy.
There were many upsides to doing Flatliners. One, just getting a movie that seemed fated to be pretty popular. The other upside, getting to work with Julia Roberts. And then not only getting to work with Julia Roberts, but the perk of ending up engaged to Julia Roberts.
Flatliners helped Keifer shed his teen star image and proved him capable of playing more challenging roles. But nothing would prove as challenging as having his personal life thrown into the spotlight.
Flatliners launched him in a whole new level career-wise, but also personal-wise. It maybe brought more attention to his personal life than he had ever been used to, nor that he wanted.
With both young actors at the top of their game, America was quick to dub them Hollywood's new it couple. The relationship seemed too good to be true, and as the tabloid pressure mounted, the question on everyone's mind was whether it would last.
You know, as far as my relationship with Julia Roberts, we are very, very happy together. And we have both the understanding that the press and all of that is an attribute that we obviously have to welcome, because it's part of the life that we have tried to embrace.